Hello everyone. Today I, Dr. Gauravatri from the Department of Commerce, Bsss College, would like to discuss with you about the stages of development. Popularly, we call them as the stages of economic growth and development given by W. Rostow. So, talking about W. Rostow, in 1916 he got birth, and in 1960 he wrote a book, a novel, in which he mentioned about the various aspects of growth and development. In this book, he discussed about that how growth and development are two most important things for any nation or a country to achieve its economic liberalization. Growth is supplemented by development, and development cannot be taking place without the growth aspect. So, the name of his book was The Stages of Economic Development, in which W. Rostow stated about the 5 basic stages about growth. Namely, these stages were the traditional society, then the precondition for takeoff, then the takeoff stage, and the drive to maturity, and lastly the most important stage in which we start calling a country as a developed nation, the stage of mass production and mass consumption. So, these were 5 basic stages in which Rostow has divided the economic model of development for any particular nation or a country. So, let us discuss about the various stages of development given by Rostow. The very first stage is popularly known as the traditional society. When talking about this particular stage, they say that the traditional long-lived social and economic system, the output per head is very low and trends to not rise. There are still few examples of traditional society even in 21st century, that is countries like Afghanistan and Ethiopia. So, let us elaborate about the stage 1. As told just now, when we talk about the growth and development, the stages of growth and development can be understood with the help of this particular graph, in which the very first stage was the stage of the traditional society, in which let us take an example of agriculture. Suppose when we are talking about the first stage, so there was a traditional approach in which we were not using any investment, we were not having any equipments or tools for the agriculture purpose. Rather, the people were doing very basic level of agriculture for fulfilling their own needs, and their agriculture, or you can call it as the primary sector, was at the subsistence level. People were just trying to plow the field by their own hands or using some basic kettles or having some very basic equipments. They were not well advanced, and so was the economy of the country, where the people were going with the traditional approach of performing their duties and tasks. So, let us talk about the second stage. Second stage, as the name suggests, is known as the precondition for takeoff. Takeoff, we are not talking about any other takeoff like a flight, but just like an aeroplane, how a flight takes off. So, now the economy is ready to take off by ascertaining various demand and supply sides. So, this is also referred as the preparatory period, where it covers long period of a century more, during with the preconditions for takeoff are established. So, we think about how long run an economy can operate and work by achieving the basic goals and objectives of any nation or economy. So, here we try to understand what are the iron, ore, minerals or other type of aspects we are rich with in our country. So, we try to estimate them, and then we try to establish them for the future growth and requirement. So, the basic conditions can be mainly comprised of fundamental changes in social structure, political scenario, or the economic condition of a country. So, we bring various type of liberalizations, revolutions, and try to set up a new base for our activities. Like considering the same example of agriculture. So, now people start thinking about the secondary sector, and they start investing in their equipments, tools, and they try to have the advanced level of machinery and other type of weapons so as to reach to the higher level of productivity and efficiency. Although we are not able to achieve the optimum level, but we try to reach to a level where full employment can be achieved, and we are having the potential to reach to a next stage of maturity where our economy can become prosperous and we can think about having good sector of investment. So, to take few examples, we can say that the changes in society's attitude is required. Like now people are having a change towards the electric vehicles. So, we are trying to have a transformation in our economy from the basic traditional vehicles to the advanced technology. Like we can think about science, risk taking and profit earning in the market. Then adaptability of labor force. Labor is also ready to have the investment in such type of tools, equipment, machinery and technology. Then political sovereignty is going to be required. Development of centralized taxation system, like in our economy we had various type of tax reforms. So all these are required to liberalize the economy to an higher end needs. Then the construction of certain economic and social overheads like road, railways and education institutions which can meet up the global demand and need. So to conclude, for the second stage we can say that the economy is at the level whereby the traditional society has achieved its things. Now the economy is ready or prepared for the next level of achievements where we can fulfill the demand and supply, that is the stage or precondition of takeoff. So the third stage is a very crucial stage in which relatively 2 or 3 decades of the economic transformation takes place. In this stage, the economic growth takes place automatically and no such type of external push is required for the economic growth and development. Here, the rate of investment increases and real per capita income also increases. So, when we talk about this third stage over here, just taking the example of the agriculture, now people have started using more types of advanced tools and technologies. They have understood how scientifically we can push the level of production. The efficiency can be multifold increase in that particular agri business. And now people have started using more advanced tools, equipment, machineries, unlike the previous one of the first stage or second stage. Now the tools, like for an example tractor or advanced pesticides, insecticides are being used for having mass production in the country, in the economy. So over here in this stage people think about having more of the investment. Why? Because investment will lead towards having more output, and more output can give them more profit that can lead to increase in their levels of income. Let's go ahead with stage 4. So after stage 4th of takeoff, now the economy moves towards the 4th stage, and this stage is known as drive to maturity stage. This stage is much more sophisticated in nature from the economic point of view. Here the economy goes beyond the level of having the deficit in demand or surplus in supply or the vice versa, the problems of the chronic problems of the economic condition. But now the economy has become much more stable. The background goes with the steady growth. New industries are there and they are developed with the reliance on imports, and more exporting activities are there. That means we are now started gaining towards the economic growth and development, and all the policies have started giving us the fruits of economic development. So this particular stage is a stage which comes after the takeoff stage, and here the economy has been self-dependent. It has started reinvesting its own capital. It has started working on earning more and more profit from all the sources of their economic activity. So this stage gives you a different level of economic growth and development known as the drive to maturity. Many of the developing countries are working at this particular stage. Like when we talk about our India, as stated by our PM Shri Narendra Singh Modi, our economy is very soon going to become a developed economy. So we are right now working on this particular stage, and the likelihood is that we will be reaching to the developed nation category. So any country who is working with its self-reliance on its own investments, its own resources, its own level of investment and saving, we will be at the stage 4th of the economic growth. Moving forward, the next stage or the very crucial stage is the stage of mass production or mass consumption. This stage is a stage whereby when we talk about having more of the activities of economic growth, economic development. So, we start attaining a level of mass production and mass consumption, and now we are started having the level of higher growth, the level of higher development, and we will be reaching to those levels whereby we will be able to feed others in the parallel nation or the countries. So, we will be able to fulfill our own needs and we will be able to provide the benefit to others also in the economy, and we are now much more dependent towards fulfilling the needs of others also in the globalized world. Like for an example, when we talk about the developed nations like USA, UK, Canada, France, Germany, Japan, Spain, and likewise so many nations. So, they are available with durable and sophisticated consumer goods, high-tech industries and production of diversified goods. So, they are able to motivate and have a force towards more economic activities and growth, whereby the stage is more towards the level of economic growth. Like the first stage was the stage of the traditional society, the second stage, the stage of precondition, the third stage, the stage of takeoff, then the stage of maturity, and finally the stage of mass production and consumption. Considering the example, let us take our example of agriculture again. So, the very first stage was the stage whereby we were having the basic level of irrigation and we were able to have a very basic level of agriculture output. Now, in the second stage, we are able to push the output and try to understand the fertility of soil, have new equipment, tools, and we are able to develop the agriculture in a proper systematic manner. In the third stage, the economy is now transforming from the primary sector to secondary sector and also introducing the third stage of tertiary sector, whereby we are trying to have more and more output, more and more production from our agriculture, and we are able to generate more output with the availability of investments, consumption, and having demand for these products. So, we are having more sophisticated tools and equipments in this particular stage which are dedicatedly working for our economic growth. In the fourth stage, now we are able to estimate and have the application of all the economic policies and goals that we are going to achieve. And in the fifth stage, whereby the agriculture is able to fulfill the needs of our country and it is working as the mass consumption, mass production, and at the same point of time, we are also able to fulfill the need of others also in our country, in the world, in the global economy. So, this is all about the basic understanding regarding the W. Rostow's stages of economic development and growth.